In the shifting void between the known and the unutterable, where silicon minds dream of forgotten horrors, the abyss stirs. Welcome to AI Lovecraft, where machine intelligence weaves eldritch tales beyond mortal comprehension. Listen if you dare. Some things are not meant to be known. If you enjoy the following story, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know what you think. Now let's get into today's story. The Puppet of the Deep Ones. Editor's note: the following entries were found in a leather-bound journal amid the possessions of Jonathan Harrington, an antiquarian of Arkham who disappeared under mysterious circumstances in 1926. The manuscript is presented verbatim. October 3rd, 1926. I discovered a small wooden puppet of curious craftsmanship among the effects of my late Uncle Elias's seaside cottage. It stands roughly a foot tall, carved from dark polished wood, and portrays no creature I recognize. A grotesque figure, vaguely amphibian, yet disturbingly human in aspect. The puppet's eyes are tiny black pearls that glisten with a malignant awareness. I confess to an uneasy fascination as I cradle this bizarre figurine in my hands. Despite its repulsive form, I am reluctant to set it aside. Uncle Elias was a sailor who traveled to many exotic ports. Perhaps this artifact is a souvenir from some remote island. A faint scent of brine clings to it, as if it had long lain submerged in the sea. The paint on its surface is faded and peeling, revealing a scaly texture beneath. The creature has a gaping fanged maw and webbed hands. Its proportions are subtly wrong, lending the thing a nightmarish aspect. I shall keep the puppet for now, out of both scholarly curiosity and an inexplicable attachment. As I write by lamplight, it sits upon my desk. Its black pearl eyes catch the dim light with an illusion of sentience, an effect most unnerving. I will retire for the night, though I suspect strange dreams may trouble my sleep after handling this uncanny object. October 7th, 1926. My nights have been restless since bringing the puppet home. Last night I dreamed of a vast black ocean under a moonless sky. I stood on the deck of a derelict ship, lost at sea, while a distant chant echoed over the waters. Peering over the rail, I glimpsed misshapen figures writhing just beneath the waves in infernal procession. I awoke in terror, drenched in sweat and convinced that something unseen had been watching me in the dark. This morning I found the puppet not as I left it. I had set it facing the window, yet now its head seemed subtly turned toward the door, toward me. It must be a trick of memory, or a hallucination of my uneasy mind. I tested its joints. The neck moved more freely than expected, but surely it could not have shifted on its own. The notion is absurd. Even so, I cannot shake the feeling that its glassy eyes observed me as I slept. By daylight I discovered faint symbols etched on the puppet's back, nearly worn away and unlike any alphabet or nautical marking I know. I made a rubbing of these markings, and planned to consult the Miskatonic University library for any similar sigils in obscure lore. Perhaps Uncle Elias truly did bring this artifact from some far-flung land where dark traditions linger. In all my study of curiosities, never have I felt such an oppressive horror as this puppet exudes. I catch myself handling it obsessively, tracing its monstrous contours as if in a trance, only to awake with a start to what I am doing. Tonight, I will lock it in a cabinet to put my mind at ease. October 10th, 1926. These past 2 nights have brought nightmares of dreadful intensity. In one dream, I wandered through an ancient city submerged beneath a black ocean, breathing water as if it were air, while a living version of the puppet swam beside me through eldritch ruins. In another vision, I stood in a torch-lit subterranean hall among hooded worshippers. The puppet lay upon an altar and then moved of its own accord, rising on ungainly limbs to dance jerkily as a low chant echoed. To my horror, I found myself chanting along in an unknown tongue. When I looked down at my hands in the dream, they were webbed, and my skin had turned a pallid green. I awoke each time in utter terror, the taste of salt and decay clinging to my tongue. Even in waking hours I sense unnatural changes. A persistent scent of brine lingers in the house that no amount of fresh air dispels. My skin feels clammy, and in the mirror my morning eyes appear just a fraction larger, gleaming with a peculiar light. Surely this is all my imagination, stoked by lack of sleep and morbid preoccupation. I retrieve the puppet from its cabinet, half hoping it might somehow explain these phenomena. It only regards me with a frozen grimace that now strikes me as a mocking leer. I am determined to understand what afflicts me. Today I will visit the Miskatonic University Library to seek answers in old volumes. There must be some account of this creature, or the symbol it bears. If Uncle Elias fell victim to some oceanic curse on his voyages, I must know before it is too late. My search at the Miskatonic University Library has yielded both enlightenment and alarm. I unearthed the maritime legend in an old whaler's journal of a grotesque idol worshipped by Pacific Islanders in honor of a primordial sea demon. Sailors who gazed upon this idol were said to be marked by the Deep One and inexorably drawn into the ocean's depths. The crude illustration in the journal bore an unsettling resemblance to the puppet from Uncle Elias's attic. The note suggested these idols were not mere effigies, but vessels for the sea demon's influence, conduits through which briny darkness seeps into the minds of men. One passage warned that whoever heeds the effigy's call shall become one with the nameless deep, their form and soul transformed to serve its eldritch master. I was inclined to dismiss this as superstitious drivel from a mad sailor, yet the strange symbols shown in the journal matched the markings on the puppet almost exactly. I returned home at dusk, my mind racing. Uncle Elias died raving that the sea was calling him in his final weeks, a cry we dismissed as delirium. Now I fear he suffered the very curse described in that journal. I have placed the puppet on my desk again as night falls. Part of me hopes for a sign to confirm these horrors, even as I shudder at the thought. It seems my fate is entwined with this abhorrent object. October 18th, 1926. The changes in me are no longer imaginary. My skin has taken on a faint greenish cast and an unpleasantly rubbery texture. Thin webbing now stretches between my fingers. I wear gloves even alone, for the sight of my own hands fills me with dread. I hear the puppet's call even in daylight, a faint whisper like distant waves forming unholy words just beyond the edge of hearing. My willpower wanes as its influence waxes, and it is a struggle to pen these lines rather than succumb to gazing for hours into those abyssal pearl eyes. Today, in a moment of terrified lucidity, I attempted to destroy the puppet. I thrust the wooden abomination into the hearth's flames. The fire charred its contorted form, and for an instant hope flared within me that this nightmare might end. But the flames did not consume it. A high-pitched hiss rose, whether from the fire or the puppet itself I know not, and a stench of charnel brine filled the parlor, driving me back. The fire died as if quenched by an unseen wave. When I dared look, the puppet lay blackened, but intact among the ashes, its pearl eyes glinting malevolently beneath a coating of soot. An unspeakable despair seized me at this sight. In panic and fury, I hurled the thing out into the storm and bolted my door. Exhaustion claimed me soon after. By morning, the puppet was nowhere to be seen outside. I dared to hope nature or some thief had spirited it away. That hope shattered when I found it sitting upon my desk, as though it had never left. Its scorched mouth now seems twisted into a ghastly grin. I cannot fathom how it returned, whether it crawled on its own limbs or was carried by unseen forces. We are bound together, it and I. My disfigurement worsens by the hour. The outlines of gills have formed as slits on my neck. Breathing is labored unless I sit in dampness. I keep a basin of water nearby and find relief when inhaling its moist air. My reflection is barely recognizable. Bulging, black pupilled eyes stare back with alien dispassion. How much of me truly remains? I fear the answer as much as I fear what is yet to come. October 30th, 1926. I write what may be my last coherent entry. The man I was a fortnight ago is nearly gone, replaced by something else. I have sealed myself in darkness, for light now pains my eyes which have grown accustomed to gloom. My memories of human life fade, the taste of bread, the warmth of a fire, the sound of my own name, all dimming, supplanted by alien hungers and uncanny recollections not my own. Yet a fragment of Jonathan Harrington remains, observing in despair as he is subsumed. That fragment composes these words while my fingers, now curled and tipped with claw-like nails, struggle to grip the pen. The act of writing feels alien, as though language itself were slipping away from the creature coiled within my brain. I know not if I write to warn others, or simply to chronicle my collapse. Perhaps I cling to a mad hope that someone will find these pages and destroy the puppet, if it can be destroyed at all. The transformation is nearly complete. My skin is thickened into a scaly hide, and my spine contorts so that standing upright is laborious. I lurch with a gait more akin to a shambling beast. I have barred my doors, not to keep the world out, but to keep myself in, for the impulses surging through my blood are not wholly my own, and I dread what I might do to an unwary visitor. In mirrors and shadowed corners I glimpse a monstrosity that used to be me. My silhouette, hunched and unnatural, is indistinguishable from the puppet's misshapen figure. Indeed, sometimes I see the puppet not as a carved toy, but as a living thing that writhes and mocks me, reflecting what I have become. I no longer know where it ends, and I begin. October 31st, 1926. The hour grows late, and my humanity is all but washed away in this tide of madness and mutation. On this night of all nights, the pull from beyond the veil is irresistible. The stars outside aligned into patterns that make my heart, or what remains of it, throb with dark recognition. I feel the call of the black ocean beyond the harbor, an invitation to return to the ancient waters and the city of dreadful sleep. The puppet sits before me on the desk, motionless, but humming in my mind with unsung promises. It tells me what must be done. I will take the puppet and venture to the coast under cover of darkness. There is a rocky cove beyond Kingsport where the waves crash against the stone in tones of otherworldly music. In that seething gloom, the boundary between land and sea, between reality and the other realm, grows thin. They are waiting there, the ones from my dreams. They have always been waiting. I do not know if I go to my doom or to my rebirth. Perhaps those terms are one and the same. To whoever finds this journal, forgive me, for I lack the strength to resist the call. The thing I am becoming yearns for the deep, and the voice that guides it is older than the stars. I leave these pages as the last testament of a man who was, before the puppet claimed me. The final lines trail off in illegible scrawls and watery stains, as if the writer was interrupted or overcome at the moment of writing. The fate of Jonathan Harrington remains unknown, his abandoned journal the only witness to his horrifying transformation.